Hello and welcome to Smashterpieces, a casual walk through the history of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. My name is Joe.
And my name is Matt.
And if you're new here, which is true of 99.9% of everybody currently watching or listening, I assume, what we do on this show is we are playing one game for every character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That includes Echoes. It's everyone.
What does that number come to? I think you had that number.
It's going to come up to 78 games when all is said and done.
That's with DLC.
That is including all of the unknown DLC currently.
So we started this show in July, I think it was, right?
Yes, July or June. I think it was July.
Yes, and it all started because one of us just wanted to play Kid Icarus Uprising, and then we were like, what if we did more than that? What if
somehow that snowballed into this? I don't know how, but it did.
Yeah, so here we are now. We have played 13 games. Today we are going to be talking about our 13th, but first I figure let's just do a quick rundown of because a lot of people have never heard us before. So let's start off by just recapping everything we've done. So we started with we're going in release order. So we started with fighter number 59, released on in 1984 for the NES. We had Duck Hunt. So, and Duck Hunt, it was a very historical game, very important game.
It also was done after an hour, 45 minutes more like. There's not much to Duck Hunt.
No.
It's there.
Yeah, that's true. There's really not much to it. It's a historical game, but it's not one worth playing in the year of our Lord 2019.
Yeah, there's not much to it. After that, we played, representing fighter number 15, Ice Climbers. We played the 1985 NES game Ice Climber.
That's a game. I'm being told that the stream is very choppy. I might need to go. My stream's going at 60 frames per second.
That would do it.
Okay. Hold on a quick second. Let's not do a stream at 60 frames per second. Well, I'll be right back. Sorry.
Hear me.
And now we should be back.
Okay, cool.
Apologies for that. So, Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers, not a good game.
It's a bad game.
Very bad game.
Very bad game.
The physics are bad. Just everything's bad.
It doesn't work. It was made.
Apologies for that. So, Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers, not a good game.
It's a bad game.
Very bad game.
Very bad game.
The physics are bad. Just everything's bad.
It doesn't work. It was made in a time before we knew how platformers worked, and it's not good.
Yeah.
It's a bad game.
For our third game, for fighter number 28, for Pit, we played Kid Icarus, released on the NES in 1986. Better than Ice Climber.
But also a bad game.
But
like, it's bad for different reasons. Ice Climber's bad because it doesn't work correctly. Kid Icarus is bad because they were a little too ambitious for what they could do on a Nintendo Entertainment System.
They did their best, and
they tried. I can't say they didn't. So after that, representing Simon, we played the 1986 NES game Castlevania.
So I loved Castlevania. I'm not a huge fan of the boss fights. I feel like they go a little too hard, and there's not enough time for you to really learn their patterns and everything. But like the mechanics of the whip, the way that you kind of commit to your actions with a specific jump, the game is so good. I loved Castlevania. I'd never played it before. I'd never played any Castlevania, and it was awesome.
I think it's all right. I'm not a big fan of NES games. This is what people will learn very quickly.
Yes, that includes our game for fighter number 13, Peach, released in 1988 on the NES, Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, which we played the Super Nintendo Mario All-Stars version.
Sure did, and I didn't like that one either very much.
We learned the hard way that the Game Boy Advance version was better.
Yeah, we didn't play it, but like we didn't play the GBA version. We played the SNES version specifically, and it's kind of good because I think you were considering playing the GBA version. It's wildly different. So
yeah, very, very different. Play the Game Boy Advance version.
After that, representing Mega Man, we have Mega Man 2, released in 1988. That game rules!
That is the best game we have played yet. Mega Man 2, incredible.
That game's super good, and I love Mega Man so much. I love Mega Man 2. It's the only good NES game. Prove me wrong. Most people will. But
Arif on Discord is saying nothing is better on GBA. I disagree. Super Mario Brothers 2 USA. So yeah, Mega Man 2, incredible. Our next game representing fighter number 13 Epsilon, released on the Game Boy in 1989. This is for Daisy. We played Super Mario Land, a game that has just been totally removed from history.
I wouldn't say totally removed, but like I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and also it is surprisingly aesthetically strong for a launch title on the Game Boy.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It's very short, kind of just has to be, but yeah, I loved it.
After that, representing Bowser, fighter number 14, we played the SNES game released in 1990, Super Mario World.
Super Mario World is a total classic, and I love Mega Man 2, but I think Super Mario World is probably the best game we've played yet. Basically perfect in my eyes. Nothing is literally perfect, but that game is pretty much perfect.
I like Super Mario World a lot. Obviously, this is a Nintendo-based stream. You don't need us to tell you that Super Mario World's a good game.
Yeah.
So,
our next game for fighter number 54, Palutena, released in 1991 on Game Boy, Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters. That game's awesome, okay? It's so good that this do. So you're going to want to send in Myths and Monsters as your keyword, because Myths and Monsters is awesome. It is completely, utterly, absolutely removed from history. According to Carmine, you're going to want to go to the main telethon page at NintendoWorldReport.com. That's where you'll enter Myths and Monsters. So, it's been completely removed from history, more so than Mario Land. Doesn't have a single song in Smash, doesn't have a single spirit. I swear to God, Nintendo, put in an Orko spirit. That game rules.
It's an alright game. It's better than the original Kid Icarus in literally every way. After that, we played, representing fighter number 17, Zelda, we played Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, released in 1991 for the SNES.
Once again,
that's
not really
another
a game
like
to tell you why it's good.
You know that Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is good. This is a Nintendo stream. We all know.
Legend of Zelda is a series that the Zelda series looks back on Link to the Past so much, from Ocarina of Time to Skyward Sword. They've essentially just been making sequels to Link to the Past over and over and over again. So it's like, people give credit to Ocarina of Time for being like the best game, but Ocarina of Time would have had nothing if not for Link to the Past.
It's your turn.
Yes, it is my turn. Our next game for fighter number 60, released in 1992 on, quote, various, but mostly arcade, Street Fighter 2. We played this on the SNES Classic, and then
basically the stream that we played translated to two idiots that don't know how to play Street Fighter flailing around on a Street Fighter controller for an hour. So we went to watch people that actually know how to play Street Fighter.
Yes, so we did a stream where we watched the Evo Top 8 in 2018 for Street Fighter 2. And we actually ended up having one of the players in that top 8 end up in our Twitch chat while we were doing that, which was awesome. And Street Fighter 2 is a really, really good fighting game. And it is essentially everything that Link to the Past was, but more. Link to the Past codified a series. Street Fighter 2 codified an entire genre.
And then, last but not least, on our past games, we played to represent fighter number 38, Sonic. For the Genesis in 1992, we played Sonic 2.
I love me some Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is, I think the whole Sonic series, I have a lot of fun with. And Sonic, it's an argument whether Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 is better, but Sonic 2, I think, is just straight up incredible until you get to Metropolis Zone. Once you get to Metropolis Zone, just turn off the game. You've seen everything good. Don't keep playing. But everything before that, 10 out of 10.
It's a pretty good game. I'm not a super huge Sonic fan, but I enjoyed my time with Sonic 2. It's got a great soundtrack too. So, but we're not talking about Sonic or Ryu or Mega Man today. Today we're here to talk about our current game, which is representing fighter number 6, Kirby. It is the 1993 NES game, Kirby's Adventure.
An NES
that came out in 1993.
An NES game released in 1993. I'm not totally sure why they released an NES game in 1993. Especially
considering this game can't run on an NES.
Yeah, okay. So
and I don't mean that in like, if you put it in an NES it won't work. I mean, this game blatantly should have been developed for the SNES because the NES can't handle Kirby's Adventure.
Yes, so that was one of the biggest problems I had while playing, was that it, like, there's a ton of slowdown playing Kirby's Adventure.
This game is a frame rate graveyard.
Yes, like actually completely. I don't know what the target frame rate for this game was. I think it was 30, or NES games are usually 60. Whatever the target frame rate was, I never hit it, ever. And
yeah.
I was playing on Wii U Virtual Console, and it just made everything impossible to do.
There are always too many enemies on screen, particle effects all over the place. Or at least I think they're particle effects. I don't actually know how they did those on the NES. I'm not super familiar with how NES games are developed or were developed. I don't know why I said are. The NES has been dead for like 2 decades.
Someone is making an NES game. I don't know who, but someone is. Someone somewhere.
But, like, there's just a significant amount of slowdown at all times because they're doing so much stuff on the screen. And the NES just doesn't know how to handle it. And you'll see games slow down in every NES game. There is no game that was free of that we have played yet. Castlevania had it. Kid Icarus had it a lot. Like Mega Man had it. It's just a thing that the NES did because sometimes they just did it. Like they did too much and the system couldn't handle it. But the entire game is like that for Kirby's Adventure.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I think if that wasn't there, Kirby's Adventure is a great game. It's fun. It's charming. The sprite work is incredible. It's aesthetically the strongest NES game there is, I think.
Yeah, it's like I kind of went in expecting not really to care too much because I'm a little on Kirby games overall because they skew a little too far towards easy for me. They are a little brain dead, but I ended up having a good deal of fun with Kirby's Adventure, and it just kind of felt good to me. Like, a lot of the core movement, I was kind of expecting a problem to be that I would just kind of be tempted to just float over everything, because why not? But I found that I don't know if it was through the game just like making me not want to or making that not actually a viable option. I had a good, like, I ended up really staying to the ground and actually working on like attacking everything specifically. And I did have a lot of fun with it. And it was the first game to have Kirby's copy ability too.
Mm-hmm. So this is actually the second Kirby game. The original game was Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy, in which it's just a platformer. Kirby does not have any sort of copy abilities. They were introduced in Kirby's Adventure, and obviously it went over really well considering it's the thing Kirby is known for, basically. Yes. There are a lot of games where Kirby does not have the copy ability, but like even in Smash, his defining feature is he can suck in his opponents and copy their neutral B.
Yes, and it's kind of surprising to think back and realize that there was a game where Kirby didn't have the copy ability before. Like in Kirby's Dream Land, he could not do it. So Kirby's Adventure, it was a really huge deal, and something that I was kind of surprised about was how often I was switching up my powers. I didn't just stick with one for the whole game. I would actually go through and, like, I would have the fire power 1 minute, and then I would get sword, and then I would switch over to ice, and then I would never get rock because rock is useless. And
yeah,
it's like, I'm really genuinely shocked how well designed it is as far as making you switch between the different copy abilities regularly. And I kind of expected to just stick with sword or fireball the whole game because those are my two favorites. But I used pretty much every copy ability regularly.
The only one that I didn't use, and maybe I'm just stupid. Everybody in the chat can tell me if I'm just stupid. I give you permission. I couldn't figure out how to use ball. How do you use ball? Does ball do anything? It didn't when I used it.
I expect the whole chat to just call you stupid for not knowing how to use ball, but I couldn't figure out ball either. I
got ball twice, and then like I'd go like, oh, so do I bounce like a ball and that does damage to the enemy? No, I hit the enemy, lost the power. I'm all right. Well, I guess here we go.
Yeah.
Let's get something else now.
Yes, and like, what is ball? How does ball work?
In any other context, that would be the funniest question I've ever heard you ask in my life. What is ball? What is ball? But in this context, I don't know, man. I tried to figure it out multiple times. It didn't work.
Over in the YouTube chat, we've got our friend Jesse saying there's a number of reasons that they would call you stupid, but ball isn't one of them. But also, as far as specific copy abilities go, UFO is rad, and I hate that they take it away from you.
I mean, it's also cheap.
But it's so cool.
But it's also cheap. You literally just sat there with like, I didn't think I'd enjoy Kirby's Adventure all that much because they skew towards being too easy. Well, yeah, but and now you're sitting here telling me, man, I wish they hadn't have taken away the overpowered.
But that's why UFO was so cool, because it was so strangely overpowered in comparison to everything else in the game. Klex Yoshi in the chat also saying tornado breaks the game. I agree, but I could not control it. Like, you have invincibility frames the whole way, but it wasn't for me. I'm sure if you got really good with it, then it's really good, but it's not for me.
Well, yeah, so my roommate Ben, who was our guest on the Mario World episode, really, really, really likes Kirby, and he will talk your ear off about how Parasol is the most powerful power-up that has ever been in any Kirby game. Every Kirby game where there's a Parasol available, he will try to play the entire game just with this damn umbrella because he is actually that good with it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get the Parasol and I'll be super good like Ben. I wasn't. I was not. It did not work out that way.
Speaking of Ben, he's in the chat. He answered your question on how ball works. You roll and bounce.
Okay, I did that, and then I hit an enemy. So how do you attack? You know what? Sure, let's go with that.
While I was streaming, speaking of Parasol, I was like, oh, sword's so good. It's the only ability in the game you can use underwater. You can also use Parasol.
Yeah. You can also use Hammer, I believe. Which it sounds like you didn't get Hammer.
I did get Hammer, but I don't think I ever had Hammer underwater.
I did once.
Think about
it. The other thing, so like, this game is not very hard. Obviously, it's a Kirby game. Kirby games get kind of tough near the end. I think Dedede is a surprisingly hard boss. I really like the boss fight. I like the boss fight with Kracko, but it's kind of hard as well. At least I had some problems with it. But that boss fight is awesome, by the way. Like, the Kracko fight rules. But one of the main things that actually made it a lot harder than it really should have been was another side effect of the slowdown, which was sometimes you would hit a button.
Oh.
And then the game don't do thing because the lag ate your input. And that would happen so many times. I thought it was my controller I thought my controller was breaking.
I dropped so many inputs in this game.
Until I saw that it was happening to you too.
It was unbelievable. I cannot believe that happened.
Like that, it's almost unplayable at points. And that's the most bummer thing, is that this is a good game, but that technical problem makes it not as fun to play. And then the big problem ends up being like, this game should have been, most of my problems with Kirby's Adventure would be completely fixed if it was on the SNES.
Yeah.
The SNES would have been able to handle this game.
And like, that's something that Chariot Goblin in the chat saying that their favorite ability is Spark. It's funny they mentioned that, because Spark I specifically avoided because of how much it slowed down the game. Like, it is a really good ability, and in other Kirby games I love it, but in Kirby's Adventure the frame rate drops to like 4 frames a second. And yeah, I don't think we've played a game yet where it's a great designed game, but it just doesn't really function. Was the slowdown so bad on NES? Because I never actually played it on NES. So here's the thing that I'm not sure, because my first time playing this game was on Wii Virtual Console years ago, and I don't remember that being an issue. But also, I was like 13 or 14 years old, so maybe my memories are just gone. I was probably a little older than that. I don't remember. But maybe I just don't remember because, I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I don't remember having that issue. How many times can I say I don't remember in one sentence? Let's count. Evidently a lot.
Apparently. But yeah, that's just not something I had an issue with when I was a kid, but maybe I did and I just looked over it or something. I don't know. But the fact that we were both having the same problem, though, I believe we were both playing the same version. We were both on Wii U, correct?
Yes, I was on Wii U Virtual Console. A couple of our friends did play on the 3DS 3D Classics, and that version has no slowdown. Like, it's not an emulated version. It's a full-on port, and that version runs great. So if you're gonna play Kirby's Adventure, play the 3D Classics version on 3DS, because that fixes everything that we just complained about.
It should also be noted that this game got a GBA remake, but
I was just about to say, someone in the YouTube chat, Matthias, is bringing that up.
So from what I hear, I've never played Nightmare in Dreamland, but my roommate has been looking into Nightmare in Dreamland pretty much for the past couple of days just to find out. It looks like it plays a lot better, but it also looks like it's not as aesthetically strong.
So let me see if I can find video of the thing that got so much worse in Nightmare in Dreamland. There's this moment where there's this tower. It's Butter Building, isn't it?
I believe it's in Butter Building.
Yeah, and that tower in Butter Building has this insanely cool 3D effect. And Nightmare in Dreamland completely removes it.
Yeah, it sure is a thing. Which is weird, because like I'm sure playing that on an NES probably like blew some people's minds, because that's not something you expect to see on an NES, maybe on a SNES, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah, there was nothing like that on NES before.
But there's also weird stuff, being that they just sort of aesthetically screwed with some of the things. For instance, Krako's background is just a generic space background in Nightmare and Dreamland instead of the cool castle that it is in Kirby's Adventure. There's stuff where instead of platforms being connected to like cliffs and stuff, they're just floating in midair. A lot of colors are drained out, and the game is just like brown.
It's weird. Not as consistently good, and so here, for those watching at home, here's my weirdly composited YouTube where you can see that spinning 3D effect. Really cool. You like that? That's pretty cool stuff.
Don't tell them what they like.
But then you go over to this on Nightmare in Dreamland, and it doesn't do it. It just skips the whole section. And that's extraordinarily disappointing.
Yeah, before playing Kirby's Adventure a long time ago, the only Kirby game I had ever played was Kirby 64, which is on our list, by the way. And I'm excited because I love that game dearly in my heart. But this game's a very good start. Mm-hmm. Obviously. And I say that it's not the start. I keep saying that like Kirby's the very first Kirby game. It's not, which is weird because there's a nostalgia throwback level based on Kirby's Dreamland, which is weird because that was one game ago.
It's the second ever Kirby game, and it has a whole mission that's just a throwback to the entire previous Kirby game.
I mean, it's cool. It's just weird that it's in this game of all of them. I don't understand why that's where they chose to put that. Like when Mario Odyssey does something that's like, oh man, this throwback to Super Mario Brothers. That makes sense. Super Mario Brothers was like 30 years ago. I don't know the gap between Dreamland and Adventure, but it wasn't that.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Could not tell you. But yeah, I don't know. That was I love that level. I think that level's great. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah, it's really cool.
That was weird.
I don't understand why it's there. But other than that, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think the level design in general is all that impressive or interesting. The levels are just sort of there. And that's not to say like they're bad levels and it's a badly designed game. It's just I can't really think of a lot of levels off the top of my head that I don't remember because, oh man, they had a cool circular building that you ran around in pseudo 3D or something to that nature. Or I remember the boss rush level because it's a boss rush. But like... there's nothing that notable that I can really point to when it comes to level design. Boss design, however, good bosses. I like the bosses in Kirby 64. I like them too, but I like them in Kirby's Adventure as well.
Yeah, the bosses are really, really good. I really like the Sun and Moon boss. Sun and Moon's the worst Pokemon game, but it's the best Kirby boss. So, that's my third hot take of the day.
But I don't remember what they are. They have names. I think Krako is the best boss, but also, can I just give a shout out to that one weird digging boss? It's the only one that's not great. And also, it's the only one that I don't think comes back ever in any Kirby game. Everybody else, Krako is a mainstay in Kirby. You've got Wispy Woods, who is obviously traditionally the first boss in basically every Kirby game.
The design of the Digger boss is not super tight. It's just kind of irritating to fight the Digger boss.
It's an auto-scroller.
Yes.
It is.
Time to read donations. Well, speaking of donations, thank you to our friend Jesse, who donated $7.76 because I like Fire Emblem. Named after the best Fire Emblem game, Thracia 776.
Apparently.
But yeah, Kirby's Adventure, good bosses, good level design. It started to wear thin for me, which is, like, it's surprising that I feel like the game ended up going a little longer than it needed to, considering it was, like, 2 hours. But I still had fun with it. Do you have anything else in particular to say, or should we move on to music?
I do. What's your favorite minigame?
Quick Draw. Quick Draw.
Quick Draw is fun.
What kind of question is that? Quick Draw is incredible.
I mean, because the answer is the crane game. That's why I asked. I like Quick Draw. Quick Draw is super good. The egg catching game is fun, but I never was able to make it past like the second row because I'm really bad at it. And I like the crane game.
Why do you have such terrible taste in minigames?
I mean, there are multiple reasons, but I like it. It's fun. There's a big Kirby. You can like pick it up and then you can just drop it in there's a big Kirby. Let's talk about music. Yes.
So music. So I don't know if you have a favorite song chosen, but I do. And I'm going to say that my favorite song in this game is the Butter Building theme, which ended up being in Smash Brothers. So Butter Building, it's such a cool, it's a really hyped theme, and it's got this nice driving momentum to it, and I have so much fun listening to Butter Building, and I'm so happy that it got into Smash, because it's great. This is great.
Well, don't you worry, because Butter Building is one of those songs that has stuck around in a lot of the Kirby series. I know for a fact it's in Kirby 64 with my favorite rendition of it, so look forward to that. It's nice. Super good. Butter Building is up there as like one of the better Kirby themes just in general. Obviously, Green Greens from this game. I think it might have come from Kirby's Dream Land.
From Dreamland. I was considering cheating and choosing Green Greens because it's in this game because of the Dreamland nostalgia level.
All right, that's where it is. You're correct. It's a good song though. I like Green Greens. I mean, so does Smash. Apparently, it's a whole stage.
Do you have a favorite song?
My favorite song is, weirdly enough, Orange Ocean 2, which is what this calls it. It's like a nice, relaxing, almost waltz. And at least I think it's a waltz. It sounds like it's in 3/3. I really like this song. I think it's very pretty, especially for an NES song on the NES sound chip, which is hard to do. And I don't know. I like this song a lot.
It does its job. I don't know. It is what it is. You know, it's not bad.
Wow, that's harsh on my song. That's fine. I didn't harsh on yours, but like, kind of harsh on mine. It's fine.
It's cool. It's alright. It's good. It's fine. I also want to give a special note to Yogurt Yard. Yogurt Yard, it's... Actually, I'm listening to it now. Why did I say Butter Building is my favorite? Yogurt Yard is my favorite. Yogurt Yard it's probably my favorite melody in the whole Kirby franchise.
Hey, Yogurt Yard's okay.
What do you mean okay? I mean, I just sat here saying that your favorite track of the game just is, and you're over here saying that Yogurt Yard's just okay?
It's just okay. No, it's very good. This game has a very good soundtrack. I also, for some reason, lodged in my head from an early age, I'm pretty sure from a Newgrounds animation, but what Newgrounds animation that would be, I could not tell you. Vegetable Valley 2.
Vegetable Valley.
I don't know where, but I heard this somewhere as a child, and then when I heard it again while playing, I had this reaction of, I know this song not from this. What's happening? What's going on? And like memories long since buried were partially unearthed, but not enough that I know what the memories are. So there's my story about Vegetable Valley 2.
That's interesting, but okay. It does sound very familiar, but I think that's another one of those tracks that's just in a lot of Kirby games. I feel like a lot of tracks in this game come back in a lot of other Kirby games.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm positive it's from a Newgrounds animation. I just can't tell you which one. That I first heard.
So there's a lot of Newgrounds animations.
I can't think of a really good, like, I can't think of any other music that really, really stands out to me.
Yeah, I think that's good. Is there anything else in particular that you got to say about Kirby's Adventure?
He's my friend, and if you can draw a circle and you dot the I's and you draw a big smile, and bam,
it's presto.
You got shut up. It's bam now. You got Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby's most iconic thing in Smash Brothers came from this game, and that is his copy ability, the Kirby hats, which he doesn't have any Kirby hats in this game. He just has the copy ability.
It's an NES game. It couldn't have done that.
No, too many sprites to make. But without Kirby's Adventure, we would not have. I mean, we probably wouldn't have Smash Brothers at all because Sakurai wouldn't have become such a prolific developer at Nintendo, but we wouldn't have had the most difficult to develop character in Smash. So difficult to develop that he called out how difficult it is in the Nintendo Direct that announced the game.
We also wouldn't be able to hear Kirby say "Auric," which is one of my favorite things on this earth.
Kirby trying to say auto reticle.
Kirby trying to say words. I desperately hope Joker's neutral B is summoning a persona because I want to hear Kirby yell persona because it's gonna be so great, and my heart won't be able to take it.
So we have a little bit of time left. So do you want to talk about our next game?
We might as well. We better go ahead and do that. Our next game is representing fighter number 66 Epsilon Richter Belmont. It is the 1993 PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16. It does the same thing. I keep getting differing reports on whether that's true. PC Engine will just say Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
What is a PC Engine?
A TurboGrafx 16, I think. I don't know. All I know is that I need to let me say the important thing right off the bat real quick. I have to make sure this is hammered into people's heads in case they're trying to play along with us. We are not playing Castlevania Dracula X.
That is a different game.
That is a different game. It is supposed to be Rondo of Blood, but the level design is completely different. They removed an entire playable character. There are a bunch of other changes as far as I can tell. We are not playing Dracula X. We are playing Rondo of Blood specifically, which can actually be bought on the PlayStation 4, which I guess I'm fired now for saying that on a Nintendo stream. But unfortunately, they haven't brought it to the Switch. I hope they do, to be quite honest. It can be bought alongside its direct sequel, Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
You stalled a little bit there. I wasn't sure if you remembered the name of the game.
For a second, it's possible I didn't. Which is weird, because it's the one I should know more than Rondo of Blood.
Arif's pointing out in the chat, you were previously able to buy Rondo of Blood on the Wii Virtual Console. Sadly, we are a little behind on that one.
Little bit.
Isn't that shutting down, like, today?
That's finally shutting down in 5 days. Sorry, yes. Shuts down on the 31st.
GX says, so what I hear is that you're playing Dracula X.
Sure, if you want to play along and play Dracula X, you know what? It's a free country, hopefully, where you are. So, I don't know.
So, oh yes, I nearly forgot. Once again, the keyword for the hour 7 segment of the Nintendo World Report stream is Myths and Monsters. So you can go to the main telethon page at nintendoworldreport.com, put in Myths and Monsters to enter this to the giveaway to win a prize.
For people listening later, it's too late.
Sorry,
don't even
but
bother.
If you are listening afterwards, the donations are going to be open until February 2nd. So even if you're not listening live, make sure you go donate, because we are currently at $4,386 and some change. So we have stretch goals to reach at $5,000. We have Dawn is going to stream Mario Party 5, and we all know that that's the most important thing on this earth. Streaming Mario Party 5. Donald's gonna let's play Devil's Third if we break our record with $7,243. So make sure you go donate. We've got a lot of, just because we've unlocked all the segments does not mean we are done. Just because if you're listening afterwards does not mean that we are done. So definitely go and donate as long as it is still before February 2nd. And in the meantime, over the next couple weeks, we've got some Rondo of Blood to play. I frankly know almost nothing about Rondo of Blood. I know Richter's
I know Richter is in it, and I know there's one other playable character, and I know its direct sequel is one of the most famous Castlevania games of all time that changed the entire franchise forever.
Which you petitioned to play that one instead of Symphony of the Night a bit.
I did, but there wasn't a huge amount of logic that I could use to sway you on that. That being said, usually for those who don't listen to this show normally, we do try and stream the games if we can. I won't be streaming this one for multiple reasons. The most important one being that as of this episode's release, we will have released 3 episodes of Smashterpieces in 1 month, and that's too many. And I'm tired, so I'm gonna take my sweet time with Rondo of Blood on my own. I will not be streaming it. Matt will, though, because I'm throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, sounds like it. So obviously, if you like us, if you've been listening for a while, you know where to find us. But if the rest of you liked us, then you can find our podcast at squarespace.com. No, anondino.squarespace, or is it the other way around?
Correct.
Anondino.squarespace.com. That's anon as in anonymous. anondino.squarespace.com. We do a regular podcast. We are, and like we said at the top of the show, we are going through one game for every single fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And that is you said 78 was the number?
78.
78. That's a total number.
That is assuming that there is no season 2, which I personally don't think there will be, but I'm not going to pretend it's impossible.
Yep. That might happen. So this is what I would call a regular episode of Smashterpieces, talking about, going into a deep dive in this game. So if you guys liked it, then feel free to check out the rest of us, because we have a good time playing these games. And if not, donate to the charity anyway.
So that you can add a message that says, please don't invite those schmucks back.
So here's what you do. You go and you donate and you leave a comment saying either bring these guys back or don't bring these guys back. And that's how you make your voice heard, by donating to charity, because we're doing this for the children. That's the most important part here.
But also maybe subscribe to our stuff too. But donate to charity first. That's more important. But also the other thing.
Yes, at anondino.squarespace.com.
You can also find us on iTunes, on Google Play, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, MySpace. We don't have a MySpace, but if we did, you could find us there.
We're not going to get a MySpace. So I think that's all for you and me. So yeah. We're going to wrap up there. Thank you guys for not immediately turning off the stream as soon as you got to us. We're moving it off now to for those of you listening live and not on the recording, we are moving on to Nintendo News Report, the news-making games of 2018. And for everyone else, that's the end of the show. So, goodbye, everyone.